All right, and welcome to this week's episode of the Switched On Streams podcast. Now, we've decided to make a bit of a change. We're going to make this more about us and less about the gaming news. So, we're officially going to call this Season 2. So, as always, Pomster's with me. And on the back of last week, where we sort of had a bit of fun and I quizzed him on some stuff, we thought, you know what, we're going to keep it short and sweet again this week, or shorter this week, and he's going to try and quiz me and see if I can get a higher percentage than he did, which I think
been
was
a lot fewer questions. So yeah, I
that's
don't
why
know.
that's why I said percentage. I think you were roughly around the 50% mark.
Yeah,
on your side.
I have to make sure that some of these questions that I pick are some of the harder ones. Otherwise, it might be a bit too easy for you.
Oh, jeez. I
think you'll do well.
I've been away for the weekend with the boys from soccer on our end of season trip, and to be honest, like the first night I was talking to one of the boys about the podcast and everything, and sort of ticked over in my head. I'm like, oh god, I've got to do this quiz on Monday. I'm like, I'm dreading what you're going to ask me.
No. I just grabbed them off the internet. I haven't gone and written up questions of my own, so don't worry.
No, you could have done whatever, but, you know. Now, before we get into the quiz, we'll probably talk about our playoffs in FC24, which started off with a bang. We didn't get on Friday night when the competition started, but we did jump on last night when I got back from my little trip away. And we did. We really started off with a bang. I think we were 4-0. Then we went
3-0, I think, and then lost one, then won a couple more.
Yeah, we ended up 5-1.
5-1 after 6 games. Yeah,
5-1, and then we fell away. Fell away big time.
Yeah, we lost 4 more in a row and finished the night 5-5.
Even with a couple more hat tricks from me, it wasn't enough to save us. And goals chipping in from other places. I think there was a game there where you almost got your hat trick, didn't you, as well? So,
yeah, I think so.
Look, it's not all doom and gloom. Like we all got on the score sheet last night in the first 10 games out of 20, which is good to see.
We all got assists.
I think there was only one game I didn't score in.
Yeah, I think that's right.
A pretty big loss for us, but I did score 18 in the 10 games we played, so that's a bonus to see that we're creating and taking those chances. I did miss a hell of a lot though.
We're scoring a lot more. We're scoring a lot more freely since we've changed our style of play, which is a good thing. And if we can just be more clinical in putting away our chances, which is not just you, it's all of us, because you're not the only one missing sitters on some occasions. So yeah, if we can just be more clinical, I think that will solve most of our problems.
100%.
At the level that we're playing at Elite, you have to accept that other teams are going to score goals. Like, you're not going to keep clean sheets every game. It's pretty much impossible. And so you've just got to make sure you're scoring more than they are.
And especially when you look at the fact that, you know, there's a lot of teams out there that are like, what's the word I'm looking for? That have got through their season stuff, through their fans and stuff like that. So, like, their computer players are rated quite highly. Mm-hmm. Whereas, like, we're only, like, rep 3. So we've only got, like, are we rep 3 or rep 5? It might be rep 5 now. Yeah, it might be rep 5. So we're only, like, halfway through it. So we're, you know, our computer players, although they're a hell of a lot better than what they were at the start, they're still not as good as where we need them to be for the level that we're at. But
yeah, they're certainly defending a lot better, but there's sometimes some of the passes that you ask them to play, and not just you, that any of us ask them to play, that would be passes that any of us would be able to make. They still just can't make sometimes.
Yeah.
So.
And they still make the odd error, but
yeah,
these things happen. We'll keep dragging them along until they get better, and do all the heavy lifting for them. All right.
Yep.
Let's get into this quiz.
Sure.
This has
all
got
right.
me,
So.
Got me excited.
Yeah.
I'm worried.
No, I won't worry too much, and I will try to start out a little bit easier and get a little bit harder as I go along. But might chuck a few harder questions in.
Oh.
So earlier on, we'll see. Starting out nice and easy. Who is the elven sword-wielding, green-clothed hero in the Legend of Zelda series?
Link.
Correct.
You threw me off for a minute there. I'm sitting there thinking, elf, green. The first thing that popped into my head was Green Goblin out of Spider-Man.
Yeah.
I was like, what? Yeah, my head is not working after the weekend I had. Whew.
All right. This question's a little bit longer.
I'm going to keep a little bit of a track of score here.
That's all right. I'm keeping track.
That's all right.
You can keep track if you want to. So, high score leaderboards introduced an addictively competitive element to arcade games, with gamers coming back week after week to try and gain or maintain legendary top score status. What was the first arcade game to feature a leaderboard?
It's either Asteroid or Centipede. And I'm going to go with Centipede.
Incorrect, unfortunately. The answer was Space Invaders.
Oh, that's the one I was thinking of, not Asteroid.
On the topic of arcade games, I can't remember if you asked a very similar question in last week's episode. So I'm going to ask this question, and I did look it up. So that might give you a bit of a hint. The very first arcade game was released in 1971. What was it called?
Oh, you've thrown me now with what you've said. Because is it not Pong?
It's not Pong. So, and I'm not going to mark you wrong as that because I gave you the hint that it's,
Is it?
Not what you think it is.
No, it's Asteroids.
No.
I'm sure Asteroids was the first one. There was a whole documentary on Netflix about it.
I did double check this on Wikipedia, but there were definitely references in there.
Well, if it's not Pac-Man, then I don't know.
It's Computer Space.
Which is what then became Asteroid.
Is it?
I'm pretty sure. Where you've just got like the little thing and it spins around and you shoot asteroids.
I think that's right. Might come back to that one.
I could be wrong, but it's the basis of what asteroids became. But yeah, I've only ever known it as asteroids, but Computer Space.
I'll give you another really easy one because you did give me a few easy ones last week. In what video game series are golden rings used as life
Sonic
energy
the Hedgehog.
and money?
Watched that movie the other day.
One of the most iconic video game characters of all time, the insatiable Pac-Man, is on a mission to gobble up as many dots as possible while avoiding a host of ghosts. How many ghosts are after him?
4.
Correct. Very good.
Pinky, Blinky, something and something. Fuck! The last one is like... There's 3 that rhyme. Pinky, Blinky... it's completely brain faded me. And then the last one's just like something random.
Right. What was the first home console?
Ah, far out.
Was released in 1972.
Now, is this a technicality one?
I don't believe so, no.
Or is this the widely acclaimed first console?
I believe this is the widely acclaimed first console.
Because there was a console that was released and mass-produced that was created in a garage by... I can't remember his name. And he never gets the credit for it. Again, there's a documentary about this stuff on Netflix.
Okay. So no, this was a big company.
Yeah. So it would have been...
I'll give you another hint if you want another hint.
Is it that one? Is it one that I've got in here?
I don't know about that.
Like right there.
I can't really see.
Commodore 64.
I'll give you another hint though. Sorry?
Commodore 64.
No. Is that that's
No.
your guess then?
Yeah, I'm going. It's gonna be the fucking Atari, isn't it?
It's the Odyssey. Featured simple games such as Pong and hockey, and used removable circuit cards to play different games. Was released in 1972 by Magnavox.
That might have been the one I'm thinking of, you know. Magnavox. Odyssey.
It's a harder question. I did say I was going to throw in some
Yeah.
ideas. All right. This next question, you very well may know. The answer is behind you, but you're not allowed to look.
Oh, jeez.
Okay. Yeah. So, including the D-pad, how many buttons were on the original NES controller?
In total.
Yes, in total,
Including the D-pad. Is the D-pad counting as one because it was one piece? Or does it count as 4 for each direction?
I believe that counts as 4.
Then it would have been 8.
Correct.
A, B, start. It was like options or something, and then... Or settings, and then the 4.
Yep. Okay. Before Mario had his own video game franchise, he appeared as a character in 1981's Donkey Kong, but he wasn't a plumber. What was Mario's original profession?
Oh, wow. Wasn't he a doctor? Was it a doctor?
No. He's a carpenter.
Carpenter. Doctor was just a thing that I threw in there because I remember the Dr. Mario games, which were like Tetris.
Yeah, right.
I knew he wasn't. I knew he wasn't a plumber. I just didn't know. Yeah, I didn't know what.
Yeah. In what video game series were Dracula and the Grim Reaper recurring villains?
Fair right, you've really thrown some. Dracula.
Now, this is a series that I know that you're aware of, and I think you might have played at some point, but I'm pretty sure you're not a fan of this series.
Well, it's either got to be Castlevania or Grim Fandango.
It is one of those two.
And I'll go with Castlevania.
Correct.
That was my main pick. The Grim Reaper thing was leaning me towards Grim Fandango.
Yeah. In Nintendo's The Legend of Zelda, the player is confronted with a simple first task to complete before the adventure begins. The task is to retrieve what?
His sword?
Correct.
That had me stumped because I'm like, shit, is it his clothes? Because I know in one of them you wake up and you got to go and collect your clothes and then the sword, or clothes and sword together.
Yeah. What band has made more sales off of its Guitar Hero album than any of its actual recorded albums?
This would be that really hard song at the end, wouldn't it? I think.
I actually don't know. So it's which band has made more sales off of its Guitar Hero album than any of its actual recorded albums?
So it's a band that
had an album on Guitar Hero, and it sold better than any of its actual. I
couldn't tell you the name of the band.
It's a band that features quite heavily.
Yeah, I know. I think I know. I know the music, and it's sort of the last song on one of them is Between Fire and something. Between Dragons and Fire or something like that.
Right.
And I think it's that band. But I couldn't tell you what the name of it was.
I'm just going to have to look that up because I don't know the name of the song. What did you think it was?
It's called like Between Fire and Stone, or Between Fire and Dragons, or Dragons and Fire. People will be screaming at me in the comments of this.
Yeah, probably.
I was never good at Guitar Hero, so I never really played it. Just put
just to make sure.
The hardest song in Guitar Hero.
Yeah, I'm going to look up. Look, hardest song. Are you thinking of Through the Fire and Flames?
Yes, that's the one.
Okay, it's not that band.
It's not that band. Oh, jeez.
A much bigger band than that. So that band was Dragon Force.
Yeah. That's where the dragon was from.
It's a more famous band than that.
AC/DC.
With a famous lead singer. Who also has go on.
30 Seconds to Mars?
No.
I don't know.
Who also has a famous daughter?
Aerosmith. Really?
Mm. That's a hard one.
I never would have picked Aerosmith.
Yeah. All right.
Yeah. Wow. Never would have got that.
I think you should get this one. It's not an easy question, but the early 90s saw the meteoric rise of handheld game consoles that allowed for portable play anywhere, anytime. Nintendo Game Boy is the most fondly remembered, but it wasn't the only show in town.
Nope.
There was also Atari's Lynx, NEC's Turbo Express, and Sega's
Game Gear.
Very good.
I always wanted the Game Gear and never got one.
Another hopefully fairly easy one for you. Which video game franchise has racked up over $1 billion in lawsuits?
Well, it could be a number of games. But it'd be GTA?
It is GTA. Yeah.
It's the only one I can think that'd have that much lawsuit. I think EA Sports FC, as it is now, wouldn't be that far behind.
Yeah.
especially not with all the microtransaction stuff. What's next?
I did have a question here. Got to find it.
He's lost it. He's lost the plot. In saying that, I had to take a bit of time between questions due to the fact that I had to skip a few because they're all very similar.
Actor Robin Williams named his children after which games?
Ooh. Ooh. One's a daughter, isn't it?
Yep.
Yep. And it's on the tip of my bloody tongue.
Well, fame, you know, we've already spoken about this character a few times in this quiz. Famous video game females. What comes to mind?
That we've already spoken about.
Or we've spoken about the games. Haven't spoken about this character per se, but the name's been
Legend of Zelda?
Yep, so Zelda is one of them. The second one, the boy, is a bit harder.
You only asked me to name what the game was, or the franchise.
Yeah, you can name the franchise.
Well, that's what you said.
Yeah, so it's two children.
Yeah, but you. The question was, can you name the franchise that he named his kids after?
Yeah, and that's fine. Yeah, so you got Zelda.
Oh, so there's multiple franchises.
So, yeah, there's one other.
Ah.
So his other kid it's named after a character from a different franchise.
I thought they were both from the same franchise.
I'll already give you half a point for that.
The question was...
Sorry. So the question was, Robin Williams named his children after which games?
Yeah. I have heard this question before. I've heard this question before, and I don't know what the other one is. Prince of Persia.
No, it's Final Flight. Cody from Final. It's a hard one. I'm going to give you half a point for that.
Yeah, that's tough. It's tough.
Yeah. Okay. What is the full name of Dota?
I don't actually know.
I think this is one where if you don't get it and I say it, you'll go, "Oh, of course."
No, I actually don't know. Because for you, and this is going to sound like the most stupidest thing ever. In my head, because I had zero interest in those games and never looked at them and never looked into them, I always thought Dota was League of Legends for some reason in my head, and I don't know why. And it was only like when I started like actually looking into them and stuff like that I found that they were separate. But I've never actually gone and played or looked, or I couldn't even tell you what Dota is, which is really, really bad. Actually, really bad. I probably shouldn't admit that. I might cut that out of this.
So you don't know?
No.
It's Defense of the Ancients.
Yeah.
Surprised you didn't know that one.
I assumed it would be Defense of something, but I didn't know. Defense of Titananus?
Okay, you should get this one. Aside from being banned in Germany for its use of Nazi iconography, Wolfenstein 3D is famous for establishing which video game genre?
First-person shooters.
Good. As I said, you should get that one.
Played a lot of that as a kid.
And here's another one that you should get. I'm giving you the points to rack up here to make sure you beat me. So, what is the number one most downloaded mobile game of all time?
Candy Crush.
Oh, wrong. It's Pokemon Go.
Oh! I still would have thought Candy Crush would beat that.
Not.
I still would have thought Candy Crush would have beaten Pokemon Go.
I'm just gonna go look up a second source just to confirm. But
like you think how long Candy Crush has been out, and they still advertise it, they still push it, like it's massive money maker for King, which is now owned by Xbox because it's part of Activision, isn't it, King? Pretty sure. Let us know in the comments if you know any different.
No, so Pokemon Go outranks, and this must be old actually because that question. So maybe I'll take that off. But apparently, apparently Pokemon has been outstripped since this question was written, but yeah. Pokemon Go still was Candy Crush.
So what is it now then?
So it's actually Honor of Kings now.
Honor of Kings.
Yeah. Also PUBG Mobile also has more revenue than Pokemon Go.
That's revenue though. That's not downloads.
Yeah, this is in terms of revenue, not downloads. So in terms of
so that's money spent in game. You can get away with not spending money.
Most downloaded is still Pokemon Go. But in terms of current players, Candy Crush is still slightly higher.
Well, give me half a point there and make up that 1 point.
Well, the question was, what is the most downloaded mobile game of all time? So I'm not going to give you that one, but...
All right, next.
Which US president was asked and declined to voice the in-game president character in Fallout 3?
Would have to be... Why do I feel like I've heard this before?
It's probably a story.
Yeah, but the logic in my head would have to say it'd be Clinton. Based on the fact that the others just really wouldn't do much of that. But then... it is the sort of thing that George Bush Sr. would do. But I also don't know many US presidents outside of that because we don't live in the USA and it means nothing to me.
I'll ask the question again. So which United States president was asked and declined to voice the in-game president?
Yeah, I know.
Yeah.
But, like, if you were going to ask them to do it, you'd probably have... You're not going to go and, you know... You wouldn't go and ask Trump because you know he's going to say no. Do you know what I mean? Whereas, you know, with, like, someone like Reagan or George Bush Sr., you know they might do it. So, you know, more likely to lean on it.
Mm-hmm.
Was Reagan even alive then? He would have been, wouldn't he? Is he alive now?
I believe so. Maybe I'm wrong about that. I don't know.
That's the reason I hadn't said Reagan before, because I was like, was he alive? Is he alive? I don't know. I don't know enough about these things.
I'll tell you, it's not Reagan.
Okay, well then it's pointless. We'll go Clinton.
Correct. There you go.
As soon as I said it, I'm like, yeah, no, that's right. I remember the story now.
Keeping on the theme of Fallout 3, which country refused to provide a rating for Fallout 3 due to morphine use in the game?
Due to morphine use? I feel like it's going to be somewhere like Israel or something like that. But my head tells me to go with something like China or Russia.
Right.
But I'm going to go Japan.
Actually, Australia.
I bought that game in Australia.
Yeah, so it wasn't banned from being sold, but they refused to provide a rating for it.
But you can't sell it without a rating.
Maybe it was given a rating eventually, but
Did they change?
I do remember that being a story.
No, they must have changed it.
Yeah, oh yeah, they must have removed a scene or something. Removed the.
Yeah, because they're not called morphine in the game; they're called stim packs.
So this is from Wikipedia. Fallout 3 was refused classification by the Australian Classification Board, thus making it illegal to distribute or purchase the game in the country. For the game to be reclassified, the offending content in the Australian version of the game had to be removed by Bethesda, and the game resubmitted to the ACB. According to the report, the game was refused classification due to the realistic visual representations of drugs and their delivery method, bringing the science fiction drugs in line with real-world drugs.
Yeah. Now, if you,
that was a hard one, but
if you'd put the question more along those lines, on like it being what country was it banned in due to the drug use and stuff like that, I probably would have got it. But the fact that you said because of morphine, that's making me think of more religious countries and stuff like that.
Right. Yeah. Yeah. Okay. I'm
doing terrible.
No. You're on track to beat me at the moment.
What's the other guy? Oh.
Another easy one for you. Who is Sonic's sidekick?
Which one? He has multiple. There's Amy, there's Tails, there's Shadow, there's Knuckles.
That's a good point. I actually hadn't thought about that. So I'm going to
give me a point for each one that I named.
Yeah.
I mean, I would have named. I'm assuming you're talking Tails and.
Yeah. Yeah, but you're right. Okay. I'm going to come up with a question.
I'm always going to come up with
on my own here, based on a question that I've read that I think is too easy.
Oh.
So I've got to think about how I word this.
Yeah, kind of like the one that I edited last week on the fly.
Yeah. So, I'm just going to... Give me a sec, I'm going to write this down. In the meantime, you can answer another question.
Yep.
What is the best-selling video game of all time?
As in single game?
Yes, single game, not a franchise.
These ones always catch me up because I always sit in and think that they're a trick question. And it makes me think, is it GTA 5? Or is it something original, which I know at one point was the biggest selling game of all time, which was Tetris? That's really going to bug me. Biggest selling video game of all time. Biggest selling video game of all time. I am... Oh, it's got to be GTA 5.
No, and I did look this up as well. It's not. It's Minecraft.
Oh, of course. You frigid. World of Warcraft will probably still be above bloody GTA 5.
Probably. Yeah.
Of course it's Minecraft. Of course it's Minecraft.
Okay. You should get this. All I'm banking on is that the name escapes your brain, which happened to me a couple of times last week.
And
What is the name of the villainous current day industry of the Assassin's Creed franchise?
Abstergo.
Very good. There you go.
Dude, you're asking me that while I'm doing an Assassin's Creed freaking playthrough.
Yeah. Well, as I said, you should get it, but, you know. And I think I'm only going to ask a few more.
Yep.
Oh, yes, this is a good question.
Okay, here we go.
What was the first video game that Nintendo released?
That Nintendo released? Would have been Mario / Duck Hunt.
It's a lot more simple than that.
Tetris.
No, it's playing cards.
That's not a video game. They were selling. They started out as a company in like 1874 or something like that, selling playing cards.
Oh, sorry, I asked the question wrong, so I'm not gonna. Yes, I did.
Give me the half a point. Half a point.
Yeah. I will give you half a point for that.
To make up the full point from before. Give me that crap. Get out of here.
Oh, sorry, I asked the question incorrectly. I think I said video game when I.
You did say video game, which is why I sat there and went, well, the first console they released was the NES. The first game that came out on the NES was Duck Hunt and Mario Brothers because it came with the console.
Yeah.
But if you'd said game, I would have known it was playing cards. Because one of my most interesting facts that I like to tell people about video games is that Nintendo actually started in like the 1800s.
Right. Okay. You may or may not know about this. I wasn't aware of it. Why does Brazil charge an extra 20% tax on video games?
Ooh. 20% tax on video games. All video games?
Yes.
Is it something to do with things being made outside of the country?
No.
Then I would
And
not.
it's an old law.
An old law.
It's sort of a technicality, really. But they set a precedent for it, and now they still do it.
I don't know. I couldn't tell you.
They classify video games as gambling.
Yep, fair. I don't think they're the only country that do it, naturally, now that I think of that.
Yeah, they might not be. All right.
But that also rings a bell now. You've said that.
2 more questions.
Yeah.
What year was the first Xbox console released?
We should know this.
Should. I think we mentioned it at some point in our brackets.
Not going through my notes. I'm not going through my notes.
That is cheating.
Yeah, no. When did I get one? There. Definitely not then. That was there. It's 1 or 2 years, and I don't know which one. Gonna go 2004.
Oh, wow.
What?
2001.
Hang on a minute. Was 2. Same year as the Game Boy Advance and the GameCube. Fuck. For some reason I had it in my head that it was 2002, 2003, 2004.
And finally, a geography question that is related to video games. In which Japanese city is Nintendo headquartered?
Okinawa? No.
I'll give you another guess, since it's a...
I don't know that many freaking cities in Japan. Yeah, go on.
I'd say it's one of the 3 most well-known cities, Japan.
Well, I'm still not even sure what classifies as a city.
It's definitely a city.
Well, no, because they've got like their provinces. Provinces.
Yeah.
And like to us, that's like a town or a city, but it's like actually kind of a suburb. And
Okay. I'll ask you another question and just give you the answer. It's Kyoto.
Oh, that was going to be my next guess.
That's all right. I'm not going to give you a right or wrong for that. I'll ask you a different question instead.
Oh. The only reason I was going to say that is one of my mates is living there at the moment.
What is Captain John McTavish's nickname in Call of Duty Modern Warfare?
I hate this because I always get it confused. Even playing through the remake versions, I'm like, hang on, isn't that one? And I always get it mixed up. Oh my god.
What do you think it is?
I can't remember, that's the problem. I can only, off the top of my head right now, I can only remember 2 names out of that game.
Right.
And it's neither of those, and I know that for a fact.
Right.
Because I can hear him saying those names in his voice.
Right.
So I know it's not those. Oh, no, you can't do that because you'll get it demonetised.
I stopped it after a few seconds.
Oh, I'm going to kill myself for this. Yeah. Nah.
Soap.
You're fucking kidding me.
McTavish. John McTavish. Soap McTavish.
It's the one that I thought wasn't him.
If you just think about it, because he's frequently called Soap McTavish.
But I can hear him saying that name, saying soap in his accent.
No. It's always Price who's calls him Soap. Who you hear, you know.
That's why I'm getting mixed up. I've got fucking Soap and freaking Price mixed up in my head.
Yeah. McTavish is the guy that you play as.
Yeah, I've got those 2 mixed up in my head. I've had a shocker.
All right.
I've had an absolute shocker.
So, you want to know the final results?
Yeah.
Incorrect answers.
Way too many.
12. Correct answers. 13.
So we're about the same.
So that extra half a point did make it a lot of difference. So you would have been on 12 to 12.5, but that extra half a point that I gave you for naming the other sidekicks of Sonic.
Well, I asked you about 85 to 90 questions last week.
Yeah.
And you got 44 right.
Yeah.
With a lot of help.
And I asked you 25.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So, that's why we went on the percentage. Bad even. I think some of your questions were a damn sight harder than mine. Jeez.
So, but some of them were easier than I think any of the questions that you asked this week. I reckon.
I don't know.
I think mine had a bit more of a spectrum. A lot of yours were like more just tending towards quite hard, but not really hard.
Yeah.
In any case, time to move on to our bracket.
Yes, indeed. We're at 2007 this week. Now, like we said the other week, we're going to keep this short. We're going to shove down the amount of honourable mentions that we are going to name. So I only have 3 honourable mentions for this year. Crisis. Time Crisis 4. And the one that we spent about half an hour before even starting recording, deciding on whether or not it counted, or what I was going to go with. And that's Mass Effect. And then we have our picks. So, my stupid self.
Yep.
Just put my my notes down on my keyboard and stop my recording. So I've just had to start recording again. But that's okay. I'll just edit it all together and nobody will be known there was a.
So we'll go from... and now we'll go to our bracket.
No. I'll just keep going because I've got up till... Yeah, okay. I know the exact point I did.
Sure.
So, anyway, our bits and pieces.
Yeah.
Our choices. Mine, the start of one of my top 3 franchises of all time that I'm doing a playthrough of at the moment on Twitch every Thursday, and that is Assassin's Creed. The very first game, our introduction to Miles, Altair, the Assassin's brand, Abstergo, and the Templars. Just fantastic entry point. We kind of argued which one should go in from the Assassin's Creed series. Stu thought 2. I'm a big fan of the original.
I am too. Let's make that clear.
Oh yeah, no, but like my favourite of like the first 4 or 5 games, is this one. Until we get to Black Flag, and then from Black Flag, that becomes my favourite, and up until I still can't toss up between Odyssey and Valhalla. So yeah, so he has his pick for this week, so he couldn't go with the Assassin's Creed. And then we had a quick skim over next year, and it looks like he's got his pick for that year as well. So he can't choose the one he wanted to. So you know what? Stuff shit. Assassin's Creed goes in. Your pick, Brian.
I think that's fair enough. The first Assassin's Creed was a fairly groundbreaking game for its time, and set up so much of what you just come to expect in even current Assassin's Creed games. Introduced so many mechanics that have been in basically every single game. You know, whether it's the eagle vision, hay bales, like all of that stuff that was all introduced in the first game. Yeah, exactly. Yeah, all of the parkour, etc. So although the combat was quite basic in the first game, I think so much of what we love about Assassin's Creed was set up in that first game, and it had quite an interesting story too.
It was designed to be played stealthily.
Yeah.
So, you were designed to, sneak around and kill people that way rather than actually get into...
And I think you only really notice how basic the combat is once you get to the kind of end game. And you then go, okay, I now have enough kind of skills and weapons and health that I can just get myself in a crowd of 20 guys and take them all on.
Yeah.
But now the whole thing just becomes a system of parry, kill, parry, kill.
Yeah. Definitely.
So my pick for this week is a game that we have just spoken about a couple of minutes ago. It is the first Modern Warfare, so Call of Duty 4 Modern Warfare.
Mm-hmm. Fantastic game. We spent a lot of time on this game.
Yeah, we did, and it's still my personal favorite game in the entire Call of Duty series. I think it had an amazing campaign, but also revolutionized the multiplayer experience that set up the kind of multiplayer experience that we even still have to this day in Call of Duty. It was the kind of defining revolutionary first-person shooter of its era, I think.
Yeah, definitely. Yeah. You haven't played the newer ones, have you? The remade ones.
I haven't. No.
Definitely go and play them.
Yeah, I've seen a lot of clips of them. So some of you might be aware of the videos that have been made, and I can't think of who they're by, but you can find them on YouTube where they get a real retired SAS soldier to break down a bunch of scenes, the Modern Warfare remakes, and they're incredible and very accurate, actually.
Yeah, they did a lot of work on them, and they're fantastic. Anyway, we're going to leave it there. We've probably run over time again on what we wanted to.
We always do.
But consider this our season finale. And then next week, with our whole new style of how we're going to do it, which is just going to be us talking some absolute crap and having a bit of a laugh and a joke and stuff like that, will be the start of season 2. And that may go on for ever and ever and ever. But
yeah, who knows?
That's just the way it goes.
Yep.
Until we decide to
look
change
forward
it
to
again
seeing
in another few weeks' time. But for now, I've been Brennanhoof. That's been Pomster. We'll catch you later.